Recording here. Welcome everyone to Dell EMC Networking OMNM Tech Talk. Today's feature, we're going to introduce Optimize for networking. Dell EMC has started offering this service fairly recently, which is called Optimize for networking, and this uses OMNM to monitor converged multi-vendor environments. So in this session, we're going to explore what this service offers and the benefits for Dell EMC customers. This is going to be recorded, and so it will be available after the session. Today, our panelist is Peter Waltz. He is the product manager for the networking service, and I'm going to turn the session over to him.
Well, thank you, Bill. Again, my name is Peter Waltz. I'm a product manager at Dell. I used to be part of the networking product group, and now I've about 3 years ago, I've been at Dell 7 years, and about 3 years ago I moved over to the Dell Networking Services Group, where we do all of the deployment, configuration, installation with our Pro Deploy offers, as well as our consulting and education offers. So any new offers that come out for Dell Networking Services, me and my team play a part in developing and launching those services. So today what I'd like to tell you about is, I guess before I continue, can you see my screen, Bill?
Yes, looks good.
Okay, great. So Optimize for Networking is one of those new services that we just launched, and it actually uses Open Managed Network Manager as the foundation of the tool that we use to optimize the network. And kind of an overview of what this is what you're getting is in-depth predictive analysis. You're getting a smart person that helps you and oversees your network for you, provides guidance for you and recommendations on a recurring basis to keep your network optimized and healthy as you go try to maintain your network. Go to the next slide here. So networks are quite complex, and they've become complex over the years because of a number of things. There's more devices, more data, and more traffic. The network is really becoming more integral to the enterprise infrastructure. There was a time when networks were just set up and they were considered like plumbing. You know, you would set them up and forget about them. That is not true of what we're dealing with in today's environment. The network has come center stage and more important because, you know, we're seeing this mass increase of mobile devices. The Internet of Things is growing exponentially. It's 22 billion connected things expected by the year 2021, which then puts more load on the network. You're seeing more traffic, more data storage, and big data. Right, where the storage is growing exponentially, 50 times growth, big data warehouses. You're seeing customers invest in these type of systems, which ultimately all of this puts a heavy burden on the traffic, right? Virtual and cloud, which customers are moving to, is putting 3 times, it can triple the amount of traffic that's coming across your network just by changing into these environments. And then we're also seeing just monthly traffic on your cell phone traffic through data and cell phone traffic. It's currently 108 exabytes a month, but it's going to be almost 200 exabytes a month by the year 2020. So all of this massive change and complexity of the network has resulted kind of in 2 things. If you look to the right there, it's caused network administrators and companies to rethink the design. And what's happened is now you've seen this growth of an interest into next generation fabrics like software-defined networking, NFV, network functions virtualization, and NSX, the flavor of the VMware. It's growing, right? We're thinking about how to control networking from another perspective, right? It's also created this need for network monitoring tools. By 2019, it's estimated to be an $11 billion business, just the monitoring tools that are in the industry. One of those tools is Open Managed Network Manager. There's SolarWinds. There's many different flavors of these tools that exist in the marketplace that have become necessary to maintain and oversee the network and reduce the complexity of what's happened. So networks are requiring more maintenance. And just to give you kind of an idea of what the real challenges are, there's three main challenges that are facing network administrators. There's this increase in network management, which, there's this, you have to now manually change MAC addresses. There's a need for more VLANs. There's consistent continual firmware updates that are always being pushed out, and security refreshes that need to be maintained. There's this rise in virtual network relationships, right? The VM sprawl is the big burden of network administrators. Also, tracking the IP addresses is another big burden. It's manual. And then lastly, there's this upsurge in performance and throughput that needs to be maintained as well, due to all the data and traffic that's now passing through the internet, the network. And this requires a need for a multi-vendor networking tool to monitor the holistic state of the network. And here's a great example, if you look on the right side of the screen, of this real-world challenge that's come to life, right? Amazon Web Services, back in February 28th, there was the big news article, CBS, big company, they had widespread outages for internet problems. It said, quoted, it stopped all internet traffic in its tracks, and they had no fallback plan. And this, a few days later, on March 2nd, they discovered that the Amazon broke the internet with a typo. And this shows you the complexity of how even a large company like Amazon can make a small error, and it can cause huge catastrophe for a company. Both big and small, this exists of these type of challenges. And then again, at the last point there, on April 19th, they talked about these misconfigurations have also led to a large number of security holes. So you as a network administrator really need to regain the control of the network. And when you go to do that, you need the right tool, like Open Managed Network Manager, and you need the right guidance, right? My questions to you are, can you keep up with these changes, and are you sure that you're doing it right? And what we feel with managing this multi-vendor network complexity is that you need the right tools, time, and expertise. We know that your network is a mix. Most networks are all a mix of different devices. They're a mix of Cisco, predominantly Cisco. There's HP devices, Dell devices, Arista, Brocade, Juniper, etc. And in order to maintain this healthy state and regain control of the network, you should have these tools that you can leverage, use them as to analyze the traffic network, analyze the traffic through the network. And what happens also is sometimes people may have a tool, but they don't have the time. They typically use the tool kind of as a firefighting device. Like, something goes wrong, let me go to my tool and look at what's going on, right? But what we're providing is both tools, time, and expertise. So we will dedicate someone who their job is to run the reports, monitor your environment, and provide you with that expertise to double check your environment. Before you make a change, maybe you have questions about something, this person serves as an extra set of eyes looking after your network, right? We have a tool that's a 24/7 data collection. You have someone who's the extension of your staff during normal business hours that you can contact and ask them questions about the software, the Open Managed Network Manager tool itself, or you could ask questions about, what should I do? What should my design look like? What do you recommend, right? And we will provide ongoing reviews, reports, and recommendations to you to provide the detailed analysis of what you need to do next. You may have heard of this service if you know anything about storage, what network administrators typically do. We do have this optimized service on our storage products at Dell. All right, so it's a healthy business, and what came about this is that customers were seeking someone that was a resident expert in networking that could also help them analyze their entire SAN. So we're adding on this type of service. What typically happens today when there's issues in the network that you will be faced with and you're not sure what to do is that you are going to, you may have some chaos if you look at the center of the screen. It's going to come a point where you need to address it. And the most common way to address these issues is to call someone in. I need someone to help me, and they're going to come in as an on-site resource. This is high cost, and it's a lot of manual analysis. It takes them a while to get things going and to understand what's really going on before they can make a recommendation. Some customers say, well, maybe I could lower my cost by getting a remote resource, but sometimes they lack the visibility. They don't have the tool set, right? You can call them up, get someone on the line and ask them questions, but they lack the visibility of understanding your network completely. What Optimize for Networking does at Dell is that we transform this traditional services model. It tends to be a lower cost, and you're getting high visibility, which we're able to peer into the network 24/7. You're getting a remote resource. We're using Open Managed Network Manager, the great tool that we use. It's multi-vendor capability to capture this data 24/7 and then provide you the recommendations. If you look at these services on kind of on a spectrum of what are the different services you could turn to help you manage your network, I wanted to lay all of these out just to kind of give you an idea of where Optimize sits. So on the far left, you have the consultative service, which is it's what they're typically referred to as assessments. Someone will come into your environment. They can do either a 1 hour to a 1 month analysis of your environment and provide a recommendation. On the far other side is your residency and managed. This is where you're bringing someone on site for maybe a short term, either 30 days or 120 days, even up to 6 months, where you're bringing someone on site. But these typically cost a lot of money, and there's someone who is actually going to implement the changes, right? And then on the long term is that you say, I don't even want to touch the network. I'm going to just manage, outsource it, and have someone take care of it for me. Those are all great services, but they cost an extremely large amounts of money. What Optimize does is that it provides you the benefit of keeping the senior engineers on your staff and the ability to maintain your network healthy, but we're not providing all of the implementation changes itself, meaning that we are not actually touching the network and making the configuration changes. So what that looks like, if you see on an assessment, we're just analyzing and recommending, right? But on Optimize, what we're doing is providing this co-managed model where we are not touching the network per se. We are just making recommendations of what you need to do and then allow your junior level admins to implement those changes, right? We're providing the senior level experts, whether they're CCNPs or CCIEs, that can provide the guidance, and then your junior level network admins can then implement those changes. That's how you are now able to keep a senior level person on your staff as a part-time staff member and keep the cost very low. This is why we feel Optimize for Networking is ideal for customers who are budget constrained and they need someone on a routine basis to be the go-to person for their networking questions. We've already implemented this service to a number of companies, and here's our 3 different companies we provided this service for. And what one hospital, regional hospital with multiple branch offices, they said, Optimize is an extra set of eyes looking after my network. They recently replaced all of their HP devices with 50 Dell switches. They still have some HP devices in their network, but we identified, at the core of their network, they didn't even have redundancy set up. This could be a big issue and shut down the entire network. We also uncovered multiple interfaces, discarding packets. The routing was not set up optimally, and we can step in and do this for your company as well. It's on a routine basis where we come into your environment and look at it and provide those reports on 24/7 analysis, and then make those recommendations of what you need to do. Another, a state government agency, same idea. They had some routing and security issues that need to be fixed. We help provide them those best practices. A school district, they recently outgrew their Cisco network, moved over to Dell. We put the S4048s at the core. Again, they had deployed those without redundancy. They chose to deploy them themselves. They didn't set them up with redundancy. We guided them through those architecture design fixes. We told them what they needed to do, and then they implemented those changes. We can do the same at your company, right? This service is like insurance for your infrastructure. It's someone that you can turn to provide those recommendations. This is kind of how it works on the back end. I mentioned Open Managed Network Manager, but we will install Open Managed Network Manager as part of the service. We will deploy it, install it, optimize it, and it will collect the data 24/7 of your multi-vendor network. Whether it's Arista, Juniper, Cisco, Dell, Brocade, etc., we will analyze all the traffic between those devices. And your dedicated person, what we refer to as Dell, he's a networking expert. His official title is Enterprise System Analyst, but he's a networking expert, CCNP or CCIE expert, depending on how large and wide your network is. This person, networking expert, will then share recommendations with you on a monthly or quarterly basis, and then we also provide an annual on-site meeting and strategy business review as well. But on a monthly or quarterly cadence, we will then reach back to you, share the information, the recommendations of what you need to do or what we're seeing. And also through the month, you can call your dedicated person and talk to them about what you think, what's going on, or what you think, ask questions about what you may have around the network. We wanted to pause here for a minute, and I want to transfer back to Bill about what are the benefits of Open Managed Network Manager. I mean, he's actually from the team that actually develops the software, but Dell has put a lot of focus on this software system, and we feel that this system is the right solution for customers, both small and large, that can benefit from all the functionality of this multi-vendor networking management system. Bill, can you tell us a little bit more about the features?
Sure. Thanks, Peter. Yeah, so Peter's already mentioned some of the reasons why Dell chose Open Managed Network Manager as the best software to support the Optimize service. Open Manage is a flexible, robust, feature-rich application that allows the Optimize team to quickly and easily view and retrieve the data that's necessary to meet the customer demands for this type of high-value add service. And Peter also mentioned multi-vendor, and this is one of the significant obstacles with this type of service, dealing with these multi-vendor environments, which you're going to find in every environment. And so Open Manage is simply the best software for multi-vendor support. A few of the devices have already been mentioned, or at least displayed here. I'm going to mention a few more here just out of interest. And so obviously we support all the Dell Power Connects, the Force 10 line, Other devices that were mentioned were Cisco, but this is going to include the ASA and PICs and Catalyst, XR devices, the LAN small business switches, the Nexus devices. I think Juniper was on one of your slides, as well as Arista, HP, and Brocade. In addition to those, we have Aerohive, Alcatel-Lucent. We support Cumulus, and by the way, the Dell ON devices have a dual boot functionality where they can, with this ONI or open networking, they can boot to other operating systems like Cumulus, and we can support that as well. We have Aruba, which is also known as the Dell W series. EMC Unity Storage, we also support that. EdgeCore, Ruckus, Enterasys, Extreme, F5, a variety of Netgear devices and models, SonicWall, Sonus, Viata, 3Com. We can also manage Windows and Linux, and even Solaris servers, for that matter. And so the list goes on, and this list is actually constantly growing, and we're adding new devices all the time. So you can see there is deep and extensive multi-vendor support with Open Managed Network Manager. Open Managed lets you manage, monitor, configure all of your converged infrastructure, including automated discovery of infrastructure with detailed information about all your devices, including connectivity, links, and topology. You can monitor health. You can see IP traffic flows, manage and monitor performance of infrastructure, create monitor dashboards, capture important events on the network. You can even automate how the network behaves in response to events and other changes in your network. You can easily configure and manage groups of network devices, make changes, and deploy them all in one simple operation. An example there would be firmware deployment. You have a bunch of devices you need to update the firmware on. You simply select those devices, right-click, and deploy that firmware to all those devices. Ultimately, you're going to reduce total cost of ownership when you consolidate your network management through monitoring, automation, common configuration, and simplification of your deployment processes. So, I mean, that's very high level here. At the bottom of the page, I want to note that there is a free 30-day trial that anyone can get. And there's a link there that you can get it. And what you have there is the ability to download a Windows, Linux, or even a pre-installed VMware appliance to trial it however you see fit. And then the sales@DellOMNM.com email address you see there, that is an email that you can send any pre-sales question to, and it will get answered within the hour, if not by the end of the day. And so please feel free, as pre-sales issues come up, whether it's technical, whether it's anything to do with how to sell the product, what to sell, features, you can send those emails over to sales@dell-omnm.com. So at a high level, that's the major features and benefits of OMNM, and I'll turn it back over to you, Peter.
All right, thanks, Bill. And you know, if you don't have OMNM already, you can install it there as a free 30-day trial. If you already have OMNM, valid license, you stay on till the end of this presentation, I'll share a free trial of Optimize for networking. So we will provide reports, we'll provide you a dedicated person who will come into your environment and analyze your environment for free using your existing OMNM license. So you could also get a free a service that we're going to provide. Let me continue here. So as part of this Optimize for networking, we use the Open Managed Network Manager reporting, and we will, as I said, we'll install it and use it to collect the data 24/7 so we can understand what's going on in your network. But as part of these ongoing reports you're going to get from us, either on a monthly or quarterly basis, we will develop a detailed report that has extensive topology diagrams of everything interconnected, a traffic analysis and performance report, the analysis of the faults, alarms, logs, and of course your guidance and recommendations of your best practices, how to resolve issues. You know, these tools are great. It identifies what's happening, but like with any tool, you need to interpret the data, right? The tool doesn't tell you what to fix or how you should set up your design. What you need is an expert to tell you what to do next and how you should design and how to interpret your the data that's coming from OMNM so you can make real changes that are based on empirical evidence, right? This is the value of what Optimize for networking provides. We've looked at what our competitors can do, and they also have kind of a similar service, but what you'll see at HP, Cisco, is that they offer this type of service, but it's really designed on their products. Like it's designed for, it only analyzes the traffic of their devices. And to me, in my opinion, you're really not getting a full holistic analysis. In order to view the traffic, you have to look at every single device in the network, not just the devices of HP or Cisco. Brocade does have this service, which they call as multi-vendor, but it really, their service tends to focus on the fiber channel, right? So we feel that the Dell service is holistic, and it provides you with that multi-vendor expertise using a great tool like Open Managed Network Manager. Now, as I mentioned, that you may already have Pro Support, right? And Pro Support does provide analysis on our Dell switches, which is similar to Cisco and HP, right? But it does not go to the entire network. What needs to be optimized is this entire block here, this yellow outline of all the multi-vendor devices. And this is why Pro Support is not good enough. You need to go above and beyond what Pro Support provides, right? And this is kind of a quick snapshot of what Pro Support provides and Pro Support Plus, but Optimize is above and beyond that. And we know you may have different levels of support in your environment on different switches. But Optimize is holistically looking at everything, whether it's Dell, Cisco, Aruba, HP, etc. We will look at everything in the environment and provide that ongoing analysis and recommendation on a monthly or quarterly basis. This is I think a great selling feature of this service, or a benefit, is that Optimize provides this continuity and covers the gaps in your mixed support contracts. If you look inside this cloud here, we know that you're going to have a mix of devices from Dell, HP, and Cisco, and each layer of those devices will have different types of support. Some of your devices may have Pro Support Plus, some may have Pro Support, some may have just basic service, and some of your devices in your network may be EOL, meaning that they're end of life, but you're still running them in your environment. And we know this is the same is true on Cisco or HP. You will have different types of support levels on your devices. What Optimize for networking does, it provides this kind of this insurance and coverage around all of the devices, regardless of what their support contract is, whether it's EOL or your basic service. We'll cover the gaps in those devices. We will identify, well, hey, those devices don't have support, but we will still guide you on how effectively are those devices running, what can we do to optimize them, and maybe even extend the life of some of those products that may have been determined end of life, right? We can help you through this process and be that person who helped guide you through all of this. Now, another benefit is that the person dedicated to you, the ESA, the Enterprise Systems Analyst, they will work directly with your Pro Support team to collaborate and help you resolve issues faster. So what typically happens when something breaks in your environment, you will call into Dell and talk to the Pro Support team, and then they will do their best to try to understand what's going on in the environment and then help you remediate that issue. If you have Optimize, because we already know what your environment looks like, we have detailed topology reports, we understand all the traffic flows, we can help you narrow this, the cases that are open, and narrow the time that it takes to remedy those issues using a service like Optimize for networking. All right, my last slide here is, in summary, is that with Optimize for Networking, we're going to help you optimize the network, increase your performance, and look at the whole multi-vendor environment. It's going to help you reduce the risk and solve your cases faster. We know that with Pro Support and Optimize, we can help you close those issues faster and provide that better customer service experience. We help you saving time. And ultimately, we're going to help you improve your return on investment, right? Of the cost savings of what it would cost to hire someone to do this full-time versus at a senior level networking engineer, versus you can get one of those persons at a senior level part-time and provide you the guidance and recommendations of what you need to do to optimize your network, while you can then take this co-manage approach and implement those changes using your junior level admins. As I mentioned, we have a special offer to any customers using OMNM today. If they have a valid license, we will provide a free 30-day demo of this Optimize for Networking service that I've been talking about. We'll run a number of reports. We'll analyze your network. We'll even help you understand how to use OMNM better, right? We are someone who you can turn to help become more self-sufficient and really optimize your network so it runs better together holistically. So if you're interested in that, send an email to sales@dell-omnm.com, and we can then get you set up for this type of demo. Again, this is for customers who are already holding an OMNM license that's valid today.
Okay, I think that wraps it up. I want to thank Peter for giving us a very good demo and an explanation of the Optimize service and how that works. And I hope everyone finds that useful. And I guess we will talk to you next time on our next session of Tech Talk. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Bill.